There are 228 million licensed drivers in the United States. At some point, almost every single one of them has done something behind the wheel they would never do standing face to face with another person. A study by the AAA Foundation for Traffic Safety found that roughly 80% of drivers admit to feeling significant anger or road rage at least once in the past year. 92% of Americans say they have witnessed it. 89% say they have been a victim of it. Road rage is not some rare exception. It is not something confined to a specific type of person. It lives in ordinary people living ordinary lives, sitting in ordinary traffic on ordinary roads. It lives in that person who got a bad phone call before leaving work, in the parent running late to school pickup, in the guy who skipped lunch and has been grinding for 9 hours straight. The difference between levels of road rage is almost never about the trigger. The trigger is almost always small. The difference is about how far down the road a person has already travelled inside their own head before that trigger ever shows up. This is every level of road rager, and you are probably somewhere on this list. Level 1. The first honk. You are 16 years old. You have had your license for exactly 3 weeks. Your mom's silver sedan, Tuesday afternoon. You are pulling out of the school parking lot when a grey pickup truck cuts across 2 lanes and slides in front of you without signalling. You brake hard. Your coffee mug slides off the centre console. You think about it for 2 seconds. Then you hit the horn. One short, decisive honk. Nobody taught you to do that. No one sat you down and said that is the appropriate response to feeling disrespected on a road. But it felt correct. It felt like language. Like a sentence the other driver needed to read. The pickup driver does not react. He just keeps going, but you feel something shift. A warmth in your chest. A sense that you communicated. That you were heard. That you existed on that road and you had a right to be there. That is your first honk. It seems harmless. It is harmless. But you have just discovered that a car can function as an extension of your voice. And once you know that, you cannot unknow it. Level 2, the commuter. You are 24 years old. 8 months into the same 40-minute commute each way. You drive the same road every morning at the same time, which means you know every bad driver on it by their vehicle. The black BMW that always straddles the merge lane. The minivan with the cracked bumper that brakes for no visible reason. Whatever truck is camping in the left lane doing 57 in a 65 zone. You are not angry, you are annoyed. There is a difference. Annoyance is sustainable. Annoyance is just frustration that has found a comfortable chair. You have rerouted twice through different apps trying to find a less infuriating path. There is no less infuriating path. The infuriating people are distributed evenly across all routes. Traffic psychologist Dr. Dwight Hennessy at Buffalo State University describes commute stress as something that does not stay in the car. It spills into the rest of the day. You take it into the office, you take it home, you sit down for dinner, and you are still, on some level, sitting in that traffic. Your honks are more confident now. You have deep, visceral, non-negotiable opinions about turn signals. People who do not use them are not just inconvenient, they are reckless. They are disrespecting the shared agreement that makes civilization function. That shift in thinking is subtle but significant. You are no longer just reacting to inconvenience. You are building a moral kiss. Level 3, the tailgater. You are 28 years old. You have been driving for over a decade. You are good at it. You know how to read traffic, time a merge, anticipate lane changes. You also know, with complete certainty, that most people sharing the road with you are not good at it. The slow driver in the left lane is not just slow. They are a civic failure. So you close the gap. Not aggressively, you tell yourself. Assertively. just sending a message with proximity that words and horns apparently cannot deliver. Research published in peer-reviewed journals has consistently found that drivers who strongly identify with their car are measurably more aggressive on the road. The car becomes a psychological extension of the self. The road space around your vehicle starts to feel like your territory. When someone intrudes on that territory, the brain does not process it as a minor inconvenience. It processes it as a threat, not consciously. But in the oldest, most reactive part of the brain, something registers as violated. And the response to encroachment is to establish dominance, to close the distance. The car in front of you eventually speeds up or moves over. You feel satisfaction. You have changed their behavior. You have imposed your will on the environment. You have also reduced the stopping distance between your vehicles to roughly 60 feet at 70 miles per hour. If they brake right now, the math does not work in your favor. You know this. You tailgate anyway. Level 4. The gesture. You are 31, running late, not a little late. The kind where your boss has already texted once and every red light is a personal betrayal. Someone merges into your lane without checking their mirror. No signal, just appears. You hit the horn. Sustained this time. Not a tap. A full-throated declaration. They do not react, they just drive. And the no reaction is somehow worse than a reaction would have been. You pull alongside them at the next stretch of road. You flip the middle finger. In person, walking up to a stranger and making that gesture carries real social weight, real risk, real feedback. You can see their eyes. You can read whether the situation is about to go somewhere bad. In a car, you cannot. Psychologists have a name for this: de-individuation. The metal and glass around you strip the humanity out of the interaction. The other driver stops being a person with a name and a bad day. They become a vehicle, a moving obstacle that wronged you. And obstacles do not fight back. It is not always true that they do not fight back. 89% of American drivers report being a victim of road rage. The person you just gestured at has their own stress, their own anger, their own history. You cannot see any of that from the driver's seat. The gesture lands. They look at you. For a half-second, eye contact. You look away and accelerate. Your heart is beating faster than it should be for what just happened on a Tuesday morning on the way to work. Level 5, the brake check. You are 33. Someone has been riding your bumper for 2 miles and you are done. You wait for enough space ahead. Then you tap the brakes hard, just for a second. Just enough to make their heart jump. This is called brake checking. And the moment you do it deliberately, something fundamental has changed in the nature of what you are doing out there. Everything before this was reactive. Someone cut you off and you responded. But a brake check is premeditated. You planned it. You waited for the moment. You executed it with the intention of causing fear in another driver. The law sees it this way. Brake checking has been successfully prosecuted as reckless driving and in some states as assault, because you used your vehicle to deliberately threaten another person's safety. You tell yourself it is proportionate, a lesson they needed to learn. The National Highway Traffic Safety Administration attributes 66% of all traffic fatalities to aggressive driving. Not drunk driving, aggressive driving, chosen behavior. A decision made in irritation that can end someone's life. None of that crosses your mind. In the moment, you feel like you won. Asterisk level 6, the follower. You are 35. You are a different person behind the wheel than you are anywhere else. At work, you are reasonable. At home, you are generous. In your kid's school pickup line, you are patient because you are being watched, and there are social consequences to visible misbehavior in a community where people know your name. On the highway, no one knows your name. You are anonymous. And anonymity does something to people. It lowers inhibition. It amplifies aggression. It permits behavior that the full weight of social identity would never allow. Someone nearly sideswipes you on the on-ramp. A red SUV, you honk. They brake check you. They speed away. And you follow them. Not intentionally at first. You are going the same direction. But then they take an exit, and you take it too. And then they turn onto a surface street, and so do you. And then it becomes something you cannot pretend is coincidence. You tell yourself you want their plate number. That you want them to know there are consequences for driving like that. What is actually happening is that the threat response your brain registered on the on-ramp was never allowed to resolve. Your nervous system is still in the state it was in at the moment of the near collision. Following this car is the behavior that state is generating. What you are doing has names in the criminal code. Stalking, criminal harassment, menacing. The legal definition of menacing in most states includes any behavior intended to place another person in sustained fear of physical harm. Following a stranger's vehicle qualifies. The other driver has no idea what your intentions are. All they know is that someone is behind them and will not stop being behind them. You eventually take a different turn and lose them. But you know what you were doing out there. Level 7. The physical confrontation. You are 37. Today is the day you get out of the car. A work trip has gone badly. Flight delayed. Rental car line took 45 minutes. You have been awake since 4 a.m. and have not eaten since a gas station sandwich. A lifted truck has been honking at you every 30 seconds for 5 blocks because you are going too slow. You stop at a red light. He lays on the horn again. You put it in park. You get out. Everything after this moment is a criminal matter waiting for a fact pattern to determine its severity. Criminal defense attorneys across the country describe this threshold clearly. The moment you exit your vehicle in anger during a traffic dispute, you have crossed from aggressive driving, a traffic violation, into conduct that supports charges of assault, threatening, and disorderly conduct. You approach the truck. You are yelling. You do not know exactly what you are saying. Because the prefrontal cortex, the part of the brain responsible for language and consequence, has been largely sidelined by the amygdala, which is running the show right now. And the amygdala does not write speeches. It produces threat behavior. He gets out of his truck. 2 men in a street at night because of a traffic light. Nothing about this is proportionate. The truck driver is not your enemy. He does not know you. Whatever this is, it is not about him, and it is not about you. It is about 2 people who have been sitting cars all day accumulating frustration with nowhere to go. And now here is somewhere to go. According to the 2025 AAA Foundation technical report, 14% of drivers said another driver had gotten out of their vehicle to confront them in the past year alone. Tens of millions of people standing in streets and intersections arguing with strangers over nothing. He eventually gets back in his truck. You eventually get back in the rental. The light has been green for a while. Your hands are shaking. Level 8. The weapon. You are 41. There is a gun in your car, legally purchased. You put it there for protection. You have told yourself many times it is a last resort, only for genuine danger. It is 11 p.m. on the interstate. A car cuts you off near an exit ramp, then slows down. You pass them. They accelerate, get behind you, and high beam you repeatedly. They pull alongside and stare. Not at the road, at you. You think about the gun. Between 2014 and 2023, the number of people shot in road rage incidents in the United States surged more than 400%. According to the Traces analysis of gun violence archive data, 3,095 people were shot in road rage incidents over that decade. 1 in 4 of them, 777 people, were killed. In 2023, someone was shot and either wounded or killed in a road rage incident every 18 hours. Every 18 hours. Once a gun enters a road dispute, the entire probability structure of the encounter changes. What was an altercation becomes a potential homicide. What was a bad driver becomes someone who might shoot back. What was road rage becomes something that prosecutors and medical examiners get involved in. The car that was high beaming you takes an exit. Gone. You sit with your heart still hammering and your hand somewhere it should not have been, near something it should never have been reached for over a lane change, and you try to slow your breathing. Most people at this level never pull the trigger, but some do. And the ones who do rarely plan to. They reached in a moment when biology overrode judgment for the thing that was there. A 2024 survey found 65% of American drivers admitted to keeping at least one weapon in their vehicle. A weapon does not require malice to cause a death. It only requires a moment. One bad moment at the wrong time on the wrong road. Level 9. The shot that cannot be taken back. It is May 21, 2021, 8 in the morning. Joanna Clunan is driving her son Aiden to kindergarten on the 55 freeway in Orange County, California. Aiden is 6 years old. He turned 6 10 days ago. He is in a booster seat in the back. A white Volkswagen cuts her off in the carpool lane. Close enough that she has to brake hard. The driver gives a peace sign as they pass. A few miles later, Joanna passes the Volkswagen. She flips the middle finger. In the passenger seat of that Volkswagen is a 24-year-old man named Marcus Erez. He reaches into the driver's seat back pocket, where he has a Glock 17. He fires it at the back of Joanna's car. The bullet goes through the trunk. It strikes Aiden. Joanna hears a sound like a big rock hitting the car. She hears her son say ow. She looks back and his head is hanging down. She pulls over. She takes him out. She puts her hand on the wound. She calls 911. He dies at a hospital 30 minutes later. Marcus Erez is sentenced to 40 years to life in prison. The judge says Aiden was the most vulnerable victim imaginable. A 6-year-old in a car seat on the way to kindergarten, a middle finger, a gun, 40 years to life. A child who had just turned 6, that is the full length of the escalation curve. Not a calculated killer. A 24-year-old who got angry in a car and reached for something in under 2 seconds. And Joanna Clunan has to live every day with the knowledge that the gesture she made was part of what set it in motion. 2 people, 2 decisions. 1 child who was not part of any of it. Level 10, the reckoning. You do not have to shoot anyone to have your life taken apart by road rage. At the lower end, aggressive driving convictions add points to your license. Points accumulate. Insurance companies notice. Premiums go up, sometimes doubled or more. In many states, 15 or more points within a 24-month period triggers automatic suspension. In the middle, a road rage incident that involves physical contact opens criminal charges, assault and battery. Those go on a record that follows you to every job application, housing application, background check and custody proceeding for the rest of your life. At the top, New Jersey makes assault by auto a felony when aggressive driving causes bodily injury. California can charge you with assault with a deadly weapon when you use your vehicle to threaten someone because the vehicle is the deadly weapon. Georgia carries up to 12 months in jail and a $5,000 fine for aggressive driving classified as a high and aggravated misdemeanor. And at the level of Marcus Erez, you are looking at decades in prison, a permanent record, and a name that anyone can search and will search forever. The cruelest part is not the consequence itself. It is the moment after, in every case, at every level, when the full picture comes into focus. When the person in the police station or the courtroom or the prison cell can see exactly where it started and exactly which turn they should have taken, and cannot go back and take it. A guy was riding their bumper. That happened to millions of drivers the same week. Most of them went home and ate dinner and complained about it and moved on. This person did not. The thing nobody says out loud: most road rage has nothing to do with driving. Deffenbacher's research at Colorado State University shows that high-anger drivers are 3 to 4 times angrier than low-anger drivers behind the wheel and engage in 2.5 times more risky behaviours. But the anger is not created by the road. The road just removes the guardrails, the anonymity, the speed, the sense of territory, the feeling that no one can see your face. These strip away the social friction that normally keeps most people from acting on their worst impulses. The good news buried in all of this is that Deffenbacher also found that cognitive behavioral therapy and relaxation training genuinely work. 8 sessions. High-anger drivers who participated showed real, lasting reductions in aggression. The brain that learned to rage can be retrained. The hardest part is that most people with documented high driving anger do not see themselves as having a problem. They see themselves as responding correctly to an environment full of bad drivers. They are usually right about the bad drivers. They are wrong about the response. Every level on this list started the same way: a small trigger, a survivable moment, and then one choice, and then another built on the last one, and then another, until the pile of small decisions became something none of them could be alone. Someone is going to cut you off on the way home today. Maybe already did this week, and you had a response that felt completely justified. The question is what you do with the next one. If any of this landed, leave a comment. Tell someone which level you recognized yourself in. Because the road builds road rages, slowly, quietly, one small escalation at a time. Until the person in the car is someone the person outside of it would not recognize.